Hi, I'm Jocelyn Kessler. People tell me I see the world a little differently, and maybe they're right. I've always been fascinated by the way humans and animals mirror each other, interact with each other, and even teach each other. So if you love animals, stories, or just looking at the world a little sideways, you're in the right place. Welcome to Future Dog. And hello, everyone. Welcome to Future Dog. I'm your host, Jocelyn Kessler. Let's get right into it. So August 5th in the New York Post, there was a horse named Lady, 15 years old, new to the carriage ride system of horses in New York City. And they bring her in. It's been hot, sweltering, yada, yada. And they have her run a long day of touring people around like it's 1825 in the fucking city. Either way, she is new to it. It's not easy. She's older. It's hot. And out of nowhere, the horse starts salivating, almost as if having a heart attack. And she's fumbling. This is how the story goes. Fumbling, she goes down onto the street, boom, dies. Basically, they're saying dies, and it feels to me, thank God that she died before she hit the ground, because that's, that's not great. Seems to be that she kind of left, which is a nice blessing, died on the street. The long and the short of it is I see this a lot, and I see it a lot I watch major cities, and I was just saying this earlier with my producer that I look at major cities, i.e. Los Angeles, i.e. New York, to kind of show us where society as a whole, even though those are just cities and the country is very large and yada, yada, it lets me see where we're going as a whole and how we treat our animals and what we allow to animals and children is usually how we're treating ourselves and everything else around. So the long and the short of it is that passerbyers or people that are local are saying that the horse basically was shaking and her legs were jiggling, and the rider, or this guy that's, got the rider, I don't know what they call these people or whatnot, he's spurring her on, right? So unless you're a total moron, when you're on an animal who's like perhaps going into some form of seizure or salivating and then having breath issues, why are you kicking her to move forward? And that's what everyone said. Great, okay, boom, heart attack, down to the ground. And people say, they didn't even call it a horse. They said its eyes were twitching and it started to fumble, and we didn't know what it would do. And I'm thinking, what it would do, boom, there lies the issue. I think that what angered me the most was that they have all these pictures, and I'm sitting here, and of course we'll be able to show you these shots, but there are all these pictures of people congregating around this horse that someone, I think it's at a local bodega, got water out. Yeah, they got water out, quickly ran to try to get to the horse. It was too late. The horse was dead. Okay, but before you know it, you have a show like it's a musical, like we're on Broadway. And I think that that's what I found so disgusting. I'm not saying that people aren't concerned in that city. All right, I'm not. I'm having a hard time, though, finding the ones that are. And that's what bothers me. I believe it was last year, maybe a year and a half ago, and maybe we can get the name of what horse that was, but about a year and a half ago, they had the same incident with this carriage provider. Let me see. Pardon me?
Horse's name was
Ryder, and that company 3 years ago. Thank you. Horse named Ryder had the same type of incident. The difference was the horse didn't die instantly. He fumbled. He fell to the ground. He was kind of, he didn't go so fast. And it was a big stink. And then you have all these celebrities come out and they say, oh, this is terrible. We've been trying to end carriage horse riding for years. And what a terrible thing. And we can't see this. And everyone says how terrible it is. But boom, fast forward 3 weeks later, They had to actually put the horse down. They took that, I believe, right? Or they were able to get someone to get the horse back. They tried to get the horse healthy. I think they had some people volunteer. They got him out to someone who donated their ranch to get him there. It was something like that. But eventually the horse had to be put down from such tremendous amount of stress on the body and sickness due to what rider went through. So, but yet a month later, boom, here we are. We got the horses out because we got to make sure that those tourists have a horse to ride like it's 1865 in 2025 in New York City, right? We still have these carriage houses. They still have these horses out and around. Now we have this incident. I guarantee you that this place still has horses around in the city. So now what does that say and what does that aggravate me as a whole? It's on so many levels. Look at New York City right now, okay? And I just also discussed this. We have a city that a lot of bad behavior is allowed. A lot. It's okay, right? We're finding ourselves, right? We've got to make sure others are happy and these people aren't and this and this and this. And all these people who have such open minds, right? New York is the melting pot. Oh, all forms come here. We support and we want to do and we love and we give and look at us fighting. And I'm saying, yeah, look at us. How many times do I need to see something like this? It's monumental mark of where we are as society as a whole, that this picture of this dead horse, and look at all these pictures we have. It's almost disturbing that we have these kind of shots. And I'm sitting here looking at this horse who's dead with a water bottle on the side, water running into dead horse's mouth, which is, right, the moot point, but, we got to make a show. And the eyes were open and we're having all these close shots where the horse was all its gear. They finally took it off and they're just letting this horse be dead on the ground. It's okay. Everyone's watching. No one's doing anything really. We're all just watching. And we're going to still have these places exist and we're going to still allow it. And it's no different than, I think it was a couple of weeks ago, I saw something on some pit bull puppy, and correct me if I'm wrong, maybe it was a mixed breed puppy, and I don't know, it was not the greatest area of the city, but nonetheless, they thought this dog mauled this baby and the baby died from the dog. And so they immediately, without a beat, puppy, without any more further investigation, without any look at, without anything, we immediately put the dog down. Then we find out, oh, it wasn't the dog. Probably was the parents. There's a completely off balance, and specifically, and I'll get to Los Angeles, that'll be another episode, but specifically in our major cities, and i.e. New York, of this, the pendulum is, it's not even, I think the pendulum fell off. I think we need to gauge a different way. I really truly think that. I think that we have the importance of animals, and one would say, well, Jocelyn, where are you going with it? Where am I going with it? Well, you're going to look at this picture of this horse, dead on a major city street with everyone watching on their way to work like this is nothing. But that is no different as they watch a shooting on the street. Oh my God. Oh, well, it's okay. It's New York. We're going to do it. Oh, it's New York. We're going to do it. You're not going to have a city anymore. You got to walk on land. You got to breathe. You got to connect with each other. They're animals. People have animals, right? I've worked with many people in apartments, a lot of animals in the city. They say it's the best place to grow up as a dog is New York City. That's a hard life, but we want to sell. We want to sell it. Because we're in a selling time out in the world, right? We want to sell you something. It isn't. We want to sell. Oh, this only happens occasionally. We want to sell. Oh, well, we're finding our way. We want to sell to you that this is okay. We want to sell to you that when it's not. All right, so let me give you an example of what this means more or less on society as a whole. Like, okay, well, what does that mean? Why Why are we? Are we in fight or flight? Have we been overloaded? Are we thinking differently, right? Do we have a different kind of mind makeup after a certain amount of time? You know, we've all seen a lot in the last 5 years that it hasn't been easy, but, you know, there's been a major influx of everything. And I think human beings feel that. Let's just say this. Let me tell you, because I don't know how all human beings feel, but here's the example. Energy-wise, about 15 years ago, let's say 15, 20 years ago, a lot of what we're seeing now, we would probably be appalled of, really. If we were to see images of a dead horse or have a dead horse on the street, it's not like animals didn't die in New York City or whatever then, but if we were able to see this and have all this kind of, it mangles the brain, these things that just shouldn't be happening, right? If we would have seen that so many years ago, we wouldn't know how to like compute it. It would be such a mind fuck almost, really. It would be that's just not a balance. Like that's not right? More or less. It would feel like a lot of things that we've seen, a lot of things going on, it would blow us apart all those years ago. Now, we have been so saturated as human beings of all ages with so much of so much. We've seen a lot of death. We've felt a lot of punishment. We've seen a lot of lack of empathy. We have been stripped of a lot that we've trusted. We really, truly, as a society, is in flux of not knowing what to trust anymore. It's almost as if just a breakdown, right, of like if you looked at your self as almost as concrete, it was like over this time, it's just been breaking down and everything becomes very raw and real. And I think what I've always said especially to my clients that I work with prior to this time to get them ready of what was coming, I'd say we're a society of ego. And we can have the ability to be really egoic. We can be really nasty. We can go into anger over anything else. We hold a lot of mental issues that we don't deal with, right, over time. And we don't really like to take ownership and look at the truth. And it's easier to make a fluffy picture than to see what we've really got. Flash forward to today. We have seen and been stripped down literally to the rawest of the raw. At a time when we've been so battened around for all these years, we've seen everything that we thought was solid and real not to be. That's not so easy on the human mind. But everything and everyone that we listen to makes it sound like, oh, this is just what happens. This is how we move. This is how we do it. Okay, this is all right. This is what happens towards change. This is this. But we're negating what happens to the human mind. So let's bring it back to New York City on a whole and then to society on a whole. You have a lot of people in the island Manhattan's very big. It's a big city. But you're all in one little, like almost like cage, really. Everyone's on top of each other, right? And everyone's have to interact with everyone else. Over time, when you have human beings who generally just don't have the energy to give much more of a shit, they've seen more than their minds can comprehend. And yet, they don't really know where values have gone or what they have and what they don't. They don't even know if they can feed their families. They don't know where the next days are going sometimes, right? You have your elites of the city, if we have elites of our city. Okay, but that's not a city as a whole. You've got to know that after a while, people are going to start breaking down. They're going to be glazed over. The mind's just not going to want to take it anymore. They've seen enough. They've heard enough. They lose a sense of hope. So be careful of what you hear. There's always the rooting of the people who haven't lost hope in the big city, right? We want to hear that. Of course there are. Of course there are. There are people through these articles in New York. Oh, we love the city. This is not who we are. Is it not who we are now? I know this is about truth right now. I've always been that. That's why I'm unpopular back in the day. Because I'm not going to sugarcoat your shit. Well, that's the truth. I have people in New York City, clients in New York City say, I'm not quite sure why my dog keeps running in circles by the door and then screaming loudly. I don't understand it. It happens only at this time of night. I don't understand it because, we give him nice food and he has everything he needs, but lately he just is screaming at this high pitch at the door. And what could it be? And I said, I don't know, maybe it was the gunshots you heard 2 nights ago down below. Like, what do you mean, what could it be? Or was the fact that you were mugged when you last night, a month ago, a month before that, you were mugged. It traumatized the dog, didn't hurt the dog. You gave him everything, never found the guy. I wonder why. What I'm saying is we are losing sight that this affects every other species. So if it's hard on people in the big city, if enough is enough with all of you, then how could you possibly not have empathy times 1,000 for the animals that live amongst you? That's just blatant human nature 101. And that's my biggest problem with it, because then you're going to take that beat out as a whole. We see this type of, whatever. It happens. No, it doesn't. No, it doesn't. It's the same way that human beings shrug off within themselves as they all do in the city, because you've seen so much, right? Instead of saying I've seen and been through too much, I need to get my shit together, because obviously I'm not sitting in real truth here, and we're not looking at real truth here, and I'm not getting any healthier, and I haven't expanded in my life, and all this stuff is happening around me, and I'm not dealing with it. Okay, take that and compile a whole big city in one kind of big melting pot. Angry and scared, as it should be, but we're not looking at it that way. We got to look at the mental welfare of the other carriage horses carrying around everyone who's got that same mentality in the back of their cart all day. The energy of, you're just a horse. I don't give a shit. I paid money to come to New York City. I want to see Central Park with the other 7 of my children from the Midwest. I want to go. I want to do this. Who cares about the horse? The horse should just do this. The one thing that I'm looking for, and I'm looking forward to, and it won't be easy for society as a whole within the next 5 years, is that we're going to be so shocked into where we really are now in realism now, that either you're going to get into the new balance and do some work on yourself and really know what empathy really is and how to use it. And people that are making laws, all this shit. So in New York, dog is now considered a family member. I mean, clearly we're not doing horses, because someone's family member is dead in the middle of the street, I think on Midtown. So you get into it's hypocrisy at its finest. All right, so I'm going to take a minute, because clearly I'm getting heated. I can feel it, like my cheeks are going up. I'm getting it all up. So let's bring it in for a minute and find an empathy moment. And seeing that that's what I'm all about anyway, we're going to use our dogs, right? And that's the beauty that we love for our dogs, is that they hold such grace. And maybe that's what gets me so heated and so upset for human nature as a whole. And I literally pinch myself, actually more of a punch myself, when I find I'm losing my grace. So clearly I was going there. What's really needed here in the sense of finding that grace is as little as taking a breath. Like I just had to take a breath, right? I'm big about empathy. I'm big about finding empathy when truly needed. And in this case, society as a whole, and even society, we're talking about New York right now, but we're not going to pinpoint just one place. If you have a dog, you need to take a moment wherever you are through the day. And how do you bring yourself to get a little more empathy? It starts with having more empathy for yourself. And when I find that I'm getting out of line or I'm getting heated off a topic that personally bothers me, I have to cool off, find empathy with myself, right? Because, I'm not leading. I mean, I'm constantly having to work on myself all day. Like, I'm a constant work. I had to get empathy for myself, and then I immediately turn that to empathy to everyone out there. Because that's probably the best way I can teach. So maybe we use this sector where I calm down and say, the ticket is that empathy for self first and not an egoic way. But that changes the whole neuron function immediately. Like we don't understand. As soon as we lay off, clear out, and just say, wait, who am I? What do I really believe in, right? Once we do that, miraculously, we think we usually have to do so much more, but miraculously, energy alone, boom, it kind of just brings you back. I just did it now. I just had my producer remind me, bring it back, right? We have to remind ourselves, bring it back. It's not easy. We don't do that as a society as a whole. We don't take a second and say, God, it hasn't been easy for me. How could it be easy for everyone? It's not easy. And it's not going to be easy. So I'm bringing back and saying that find empathy in the smaller moments, especially when you're shocked and you're in awe that, is this what I really live in? Yes. Maybe that's true. Let's get real. This is what you really live in right now. And this may be exactly what you'll be living in for another few years. Yes. And it was easier to deliver that message to people years ago because it hadn't gotten near enough, right? Now everyone shrugged me off. You don't know what you're talking about. It's always going to be the same. No, it isn't. And what everyone hopes for, usually in the sense of trying to break down a society, which is a whole bigger question, usually start with the cities. What one hopes for is that you can get a large enough part of society to have lost complete empathy for who they are, where they come from, what they have. That's a bigger, who we can get that some other time, that rules all this. It's big. That's kind of what one hopes, the one's pulling some sense of strings here. We wonder why laws don't get passed right away. We wonder why we just can't clean up a city right away. It's all part of the process. Do we have the ability to change it? Maybe not so fast. We may have to watch this destruction. Even more so, we can't destruct ourselves. So I guess my whole point is that it doesn't have to be the biggest example of one's life to go and try to make a point. You have a better case out in the world, in a small city or in the middle of the country on a farm. You have a better chance to keep your mind straight, figure out the day-to-day, who you are, why you're doing this, and run through the muck for a little while with a sense of empathy as a whole, that is your saving grace for the next 5 to 7 years. And maybe that's why I get so upset when I see a disgrace effortlessly to animals. Your dogs, if you got dogs, you got a cat, you got a goat, you got a lizard, take a second. You having a hard day? A minute. Are you overwhelmed by all that you see or read? Stop seeing it, stop reading it. Get back to you. Take a moment, look at your dog, do something nice, take a breath, stretch with your dog. What do you think your dog loves about you? Your cat loves about you, your goat loves about you. Do you love that about you? Believe it or not, diverting one's mind for literally that takes 2 minutes of one's time to let your mind be reminded then to your heart of your worth and you've got this. If we all did that in the smallest capacity once or twice a day, no matter where we lived, whether you think you need it or not, it would immediately change in the smallest vibration that leads out to bigger vibration. Empathy, which then says, listen, we give a shit. I give a shit about myself. I don't know exactly where I'm going with it, but I do. And I look at it. I give a shit about my animals and where I live. Now let's get together and see what we're going to do. That's the only way in this new time to make change. And maybe that's what gets me so upset, because I feel that that's not going to be immediate. So we may be seeing more of this. And our animals may get sacrificed to make a point. And look at that grace, right? That's your ultimate reminder. You don't have animals? Go look at a bird. Find your grace again. The hope is that we don't find it. But human existence on a whole deeply matters for us to do. And it's not how everyone thinks. It's not out in the wider view. It's got to start home. You can't connect and give empathy and truth, not bullshit like, oh, I feel bad for you. And then close the door and be like, oh, I hate her. It should have happened. I mean, she's such a pain in the ass, right? That's who we are. Are you really in truth? You really care? Then really care. That's all I've been saying in that sense, is I think I'll take ownership. I get heightened because I know we're not going to find it right away. So the best thing I can do is say to all you guys, all of you, like if you're even here, then there's a part of you saying, hold on, we can slowly change even our own minds and how we function, which is critical right now, by taking a step back and having, again, a beat of empathy for yourself, whatever that would be. We're all different. We're all individual. Make it whatever it be. I don't care. Have it. Own it. Feel it. And then look out and have empathy. Let's all find a sense of grace. And then with grace comes the empathy. And then perhaps that energy alone will start directing slowly but surely some serious change that is not just for a picture or an image, but is for long withstanding for our life here on this planet. All right, I'm going to end on there. I'm going to say to all of you, thank you for joining me. I'd love you to like and subscribe on all our platforms. And I believe on Instagram and some other socials. We'll get to that. And I will say this, that join me, Mary Grace is here. My dog, Mary Grace, ironically, Grace, right? That's the universe probably reminding me, practice what you preach, bitch. Think about grace. My dog, Mary Grace, and I will be here and back for next episode, and it's not going to be as heavy. We're going to tackle some issues with bad behavior, Meghan Markle, and of course, not having enough land to house some ducks. All right, everyone. Thank you for joining me on Future Dog. Till next time, have a good one.